Hey everybody, I'm JimClassic and you are watching Geekin', and for today's video, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Bonecrusher. The left arm, the strong arm of the Constructicon team. Before we open this guy up, let's talk about the package. And here we have Bonecrusher still in the box, and this is part of the whole new packaging, just like with we did with Red Alert. Hasbro has brought back the window, which is great. You see most of the figure there. We see artwork of Bonecrusher, a close-up of him and his double chin, his vehicle mode, Transformers Studio Series. Now, this is interesting. It looks like Hasbro has officially dropped the 86 version, and it just says Studio Series, and then below Transformers the movie, indicating which Transformers movie. So I guess we're just done with the 86 line, and it has just been merged in with just all Studio Series figures. And speaking of merged, we see a nice picture of Devastator here on the side, which is, the ultimate goal here for this Studio Series set. So Bonecrusher is my first Constructicon that I have gotten my hands on. Oh, that's right. There's a nice little wraparound right here of the close-up, and then wraparound right there. You even see a little bit of Autobot City down there at the bottom, which is kind of nice. Moving on to the back, we see a scene from, you can't see it, there we go, a scene from the Transformers the movie, product show, the robot mode, vehicle mode, Bonecrusher battles the Autobots in Autobot City on Earth. And that's all it says. The rest are different languages. Anyway, nothing really much else. That's it for the box. It's simple, going for this whole, I don't know, premium look, I guess, with Studio Series. Age of the Primes and Studio Series are adopting the same format now. I guess they're trying to make things a little more uniform, which, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna raise a fuss. I'm not even gonna keep the box. So, that being said, let's open this guy up and see what he is all about. All right, so taking Bonecrusher out of the package. Well, at least pretty much exactly what I expected he would be. Full disclosure here, out of all 6 of the Constructicons, he might have been the least favorite one. And of course, he's the first one that I get. But, I mean, yeah, he looks like Bonecrusher, as seen in the 1986 Transformers movie, for the most part. I mean, personally, I think some of these proportions are a little off, but let's have at it. First off, that's a lot of green plastic right there. I mean, I don't know if I like this shade of green. I mean, it might be, or at least for something this size. I don't know if I like something this green at this size. Like, a small Constructicon like this, yay big, that's fine. But this is a lot of green and not a lot of color. But yeah, this is mostly just unpainted green plastic. And we got some paint details right there on the chest, which, don't look too bad, really. Got some good, I like the vents. I kind of like the asymmetrical, greeblies or whatever they are, and the Decepticon badge looks good. And the only other color on this guy is, there's a little bit of color right there on the hip and the hands, I guess, And then, of course, his head, that flat top and that double chin and those really cool shades. I mean, that's Bonecrusher for you. I've always kind of liked his head sculpt a little bit, or at least he's always had an interesting face, like with the double chin and everything. But and he's also, he's a I don't know if tubby is the right word, but like the double chin and his proportions, I would say that tracks a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's it. That's really it. I mean, the silver paint on the face is pretty good, and so is that red. Is that? I don't think. Yeah, I would say that's painted on. For a second, I thought the eyes might be a separate piece, but there's not even a screw or anything that implies that it's... Oh, it might be... hold on, there's a seam right here. So there might be two halves to this. So it's entirely possible that those shades are... they could be a separate piece. But if not, everything looks clean. I mean, what little paint applications he has is good. And, color breakup, not that good. He's got that backpack right there, which isn't very obtrusive, and this is obviously Devastator parts right there. But that's it. That's really all I gotta say about the deco. Moving on to the, articulation. Well, we have a full rotation there at the head. It can kind of look up that high because of the hinge. Can, well, kind of look down also. I mean, it's transformation stuff right there, but he's got at least a good up and down motion if you want to, if you want Bonecrusher to headbang or whatever. He's got decent rotation at the shoulders because he's got a nice ball joint. Some hollow bits. Unfortunately, hollow bits sometimes annoy me. Like, I think that could have been filled. They could have done something with that. But anyway, full rotation there. Is there a bicep swivel? I thought I saw one, but I was wrong. But anyway, we do have elbow rotation because, again, ball joint. But look at his forearm. Look how short that forearm is. Like, this is what I'm talking about. His proportions are a little weird. Like, he does not have a great proportion going on. But, like, I just want those arms to be longer, and I think my opinion of him might improve a little bit. No, wait. Oh, he does have a waist. Well, he sort of has a waist articulation, sort of, but you obviously have to detach the shovel, which, you're not supposed to do, but I suppose a waist rotation. But let's just put an asterisk by that, because you do have to release the shovel. Anyway, ball joint at the thigh, big ball joint at the thigh. We have a thigh cut right there for a swivel, so he can kick out that far. He can kick back that far. And these are tight ball joints. Like, I'm afraid this might loosen up over time, but these are pretty thick ball joints. I guess that's an ab crunch, I suppose. Again, you have to untab the shovel. But yeah, I guess this is an unofficial ab crunch. Why not? Anyway, bend at the knee. Now that's the weird thing. This bend locks into place. Now that might be due to Devastator, but you heard that? And then untab. So there's definitely a locking mechanism for a straight leg, and then you bend it right there, which is, I guess it's okay. And here we have, I suppose this counts as a toe point, I suppose. We got a heel point. This is all transformation stuff. And we have a very nice ankle pivot. And that's pretty much it for articulation. I mean, Bonecrusher, he's T-posing. Bonecrusher is a very simple man with very simple design needs, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, there's not much to say about Bonecrusher here. Unfortunately, I wish I had more to say, but I don't. I mean, he's solid. The figure is definitely solid. His only accessory is the little pistol, which I do kind of appreciate seeing the Constructicons with their dinky little ray guns again. I kind of like that. That was probably the one thing I really missed about the Combiner Wars Constructicons is they didn't have their rinky-dink stupid little pistols that, it's amazing, it's amazing one of these guys actually killed Prowl with it. And of course, with that rinky-dink blaster, there is a peg there for a blast effect. So Bonecrusher can shoot Autobots with, which, this is kind of nice. I kind of dig this. I mean, I guess since he's Bonecrusher and he's a demolitions expert, you think he'd have a better weapon than that. But whatever, it does the job. And it is accurate to the old G1 toys, and that's what Hasbro's going for here. Okay. All right, now let's get on with some robot mode comparisons. Since I currently don't have Scrapper at the moment, we're going to have to go with another Constructicon, Roadhauler. Yes, I'm pretty sure Roadhauler is officially a Decepticon now. I think Hasbro declared that a couple of years ago, but yeah. Road Hauler is a Constructicon. He's just not part of the evil Constructicon Devastator team. Anyway, Studio Series Jazz, which I think this is an appropriate height for these two. Studio Series Brawn, throwing that guy right there. Age of the Primes Armada Red Alert, but we're just going to throw him right there. And, he's pretty tall. He's taller than Bonecrusher, which I guess might be a little bit weird. But there is one more comparison I would like to do, and I kind of saved that for last. We're just going to move Bonecrusher over here because we are going to compare him with Combiner Wars Bonecrusher. I think we all thought that was kind of inevitable. Let's reposition the camera a little bit. There we go. So, yeah, similar engineering, or at least in certain areas, like with the arms and the chest. Definitely not the legs. But the green is a different color. I actually think I like that green a little bit better. I like the arms a little bit better. I like the silver a little bit better. Like, I get it. This is more cartoon accurate. I get that. I understand that's the idea, but I like that deco. I like the way the silver breaks up the green a lot better. He's bigger. He's taller. He's a little bit leaner. But I'm not trying to say this is a bad figure. I'm not. I'm just, the hips here are weird. I'll give you that. The hips for this Bonecrusher are weird. But overall, I think this guy's just a slightly nicer looking figure. Anyway, that's all I gotta say about I don't want to be making fun of this figure, hitting this figure too hard, because I don't think it's bad. I really don't. I just do consider him a bit of a step down in certain areas, in most areas, with the exception of maybe the hips. Anyway, I think I've kind of insulted this figure enough for right now. Let's just get to the transformation. So, now that we've talked about the articulation and the deco and the rinky-dink pistol, it's time to get this guy into vehicle mode. He is a Constructicon, after all. So, we're going to start with the arms. And the ball joint there does have a hinge at the back, and we're going to rotate both arms and double fold them backwards like so. Oh my gosh. There we go. Now we untab the bucket from the chest right there. We're also going to untab or unhinge this area from the back like so. Oops, like so. But we're also going to move that out of the way a little bit. We're going to hinge it back a little bit more because the arms have to kind of rotate and go into where the old chest cavity was. And you put the head down there. This isn't tabbing in for some reason. There we go. All tabbed in. There we go. Put the canopy up. And now this little tab is going to connect in there into the front. Okay. Now what is the hips is going to go down like so. Put the feet together. We're going to close this up because we don't need that. That's not part of the vehicle mode. I mean, aside from the undercarriage, of course. And things are supposed to tab in together. So you're supposed to tab into there and right there. But it's Bonecrusher, as defiant as always, is being defiant. There we go. And then the bucket goes down like something like that. I'm still... I don't think I did that right. Oh, there's a hinge right there. That hinge goes down. That goes up. That goes down. And here we have... yeah. That's it. That's the vehicle mode. Here we have bulldozer mode. And it's just a brick. It is a giant green brick. There's some purple there. A little bit of purple there for the grill. Nice big honking Decepticon symbol. Some silver there at the treads. And that's it. There's no wheels, no casters, which that's kind of disappointing. I imagine this right here is for Devastator. And I'm going to assume here. Oh, I can't even undo it? What the hell? Oh, right, because it's pegged in. I assume that is, Devastator. Or that. I assume that's the Devastator portion right there. But, oh, and then that's how that works. Okay, because that's the shoulder. Okay, that's the Devastator arm. Yep. I mean, obviously, Bonecrusher is the Devastator arm, the left arm. But so that's how that magic happens. But anyway, yeah, I mean, not much of a vehicle mode here. I mean, you know, and then of course you could just take the pistol and put it right there at in the 5mm port, and you know, that's kind of it. Okay, now it's time for comparisons, and I think it's only appropriate if we just break out Combiner Wars Bonecrusher right there. And as you can see, there is a noticeable size difference. I would dare say Combiner Wars is probably more of an appropriate size for a bulldozer than the Studio Series 86 version, and there's a color difference for sure. This is a bolder green. This is more of a diffused. I think that's the right word I'm looking for. A more diffused green, and this is probably more accurate to the original toy, which I just don't have available to me at the moment. But you know, I mean, obviously, it's got some similarities. It's the same type of vehicle mode, where Combiner Wars does have the casters, and it's got the bulk. This one's got, I don't know, the charm. This one's got the charm. I don't know. I might actually prefer the Combiner Wars version over this one, but you know, doesn't mean I hate this one. It's just I do think this one is slightly better, and that's okay, you know. Of course, here we have Road Hauler in vehicle mode, and at least that looks like a pretty good comparison, even though I would dare say the Grapple Inferno Road Hauler toy is smaller than it should be, but at least these two scale well together. I think these two, kind of look the part. Not. Of course, we have Studio Series Brawn, and well, I would even dare say Brawn pretty much looks good with these guys as well. I mean, even though the original Brawn was a minifigure, he turns into like a large Jeep. And just to make things quick, Studio Series 86 Jazz, and this is where I think it kind of falls apart, because I think Jazz is a little bit too big. He doesn't scale in very well, but this is where at least Bonecrusher fits in with some of the Studio Series figures, and Road Hauler. This guy is so damn simple, and the fact that Hasbro charged me $24 for it, and the fact that I was dumb enough to spend $24 on this guy. But I want that combiner. I want that Devastator combiner. Not necessarily sure this guy is worth $24. Aside from the overall worth of, that good old Age of the Primes, or I'm sorry, that aside from that Studio Series Devastator that we're going to be getting, I'm just not 100% sure he's worth $24. But I mean, it's okay. It looks like what it's supposed to set out to do. But it just, no casters, no wheels. I mean, the original toy didn't have them, but the original toy was also 2 inches long. There's a reason why that didn't have casters. It was a Japanese toy from the early 80s or late 70s. I don't know when the original toy came about. But, there are reasons. But this is 2025. There should have been some casters in here. It could have been done. And that's just about it. That's really, that's it. That's my thoughts. Definitely looking forward. I am looking forward to that Devastator. I cannot wait to see it. It spins. Look at that. Look at him. Nice low center of gravity, so it spins pretty well. That didn't work, but anyway, that has pretty much been my thoughts on Studio Series 86, or maybe it's just Studio Series now. Bonecrusher. I'm definitely keeping my eyes peeled for Scrapper, because I think he's supposed to be on the shelves now too. Or if Big Bad Toy Store processes my pre-order, which this is Big Bad Toy Store, it might not. I'm just going to keep an eye out for Scrapper. Scrapper is the guy I'm looking for. He's my favorite Constructicon. But anyway, those have been my thoughts. I would like to hear what your thoughts are on this figure. Please let me know in the comment section. Of course, like, share, and subscribe, all that jazz. I'm JimClassic. You have been watching Geekin', and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody.